my goodness. Please, this is so insane. This is insanity. Oh my gosh. Can you hear me? You can hear me. Okay. Okay, let me make sure I can't hear you. So let me just check my settings.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can. Well, I think you and I both get some collaborative prowess for our resilience on trying and trying and trying again.
Yes, I don't know about you, but I've had this before. When I'm too much in resonance with someone, the digital world does not work for me.
Really?
That happened to me often.
So you think it's kind of, I don't want to say a good thing, but
Yeah, it's just because the energy is really in resonance. Like, I have a friend, he's an amazing singer, and you would give him affirmations you wanted, and he would record a CD for you back when we had CDs, and he had this machine really good. He did it with 30 people. When it came to me, it was like nothing was working. And that happens to me all the time in the digital world. So I look at it as we have too much resonance together. It messes up the digital world.
Well, that's a good sign. And it's a good sign that I was like, oh my gosh, Dr. Lise is going to think I am the most ridiculous.
No, because
technologically.
Is this your link?
I don't know what link it is now because I've been jumping in and out of emails. I was on another Zoom link. Yeah. So.
All right.
Yeah.
We're here. We made it. We found out. It was It was an initiation.
Yes. Now I just have to. Okay. Cloud recording is on. So we're being recorded. That's the main thing.
All right. And hopefully the internet won't. It's so weird because my internet was working, and then last time we're in the middle of talking and poof, we couldn't talk. This is the type of thing that happens, I find. So we cannot be too excited. We have to remain centered. All right, here we go.
So good. All right, here we go.
Here we go, darling. We made it.
We made it.
Hi, this is Dr. Stephanie Wautier, and I'm the host of Conversations with a Chiropractor. I believe healing often begins with connection, and that's really what this podcast is about. These are real conversations about health, healing, life, and the stories that shape us. Some guests come from the wellness world, some come from the community, and some simply bring a life experience worth sharing. My hope is that each conversation invites you to listen, learn, reflect, and maybe see your own life or healing in a new way. Sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy this conversation with a chiropractor.
Today on Conversations with a Chiropractor, I am joined by Dr. Lise Janelle. She is a peak performance and results expert for individuals driven to live their best life. She's an author, she's a speaker, she helps high-level athletes and entrepreneurs understand how tweaking their subconscious beliefs can mean the difference between wins and losses. She has 22 years plus of experience as a coach, and she is the inventor of the powerful Heart Freedom Method. Dr. Lise unlocks the subconscious mind to drive peak performance. I am so excited to talk to Dr. Lise today. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Stephanie. It was a challenge for us to get together. Too much energy, as you were saying.
It was a challenge. Technology sometimes is frustrating.
I think as a chiropractor, I really love touching people. I love the physical world.
Yes.
The physical world is cool because it allows us to do a whole bunch of things, but I'm very comfortable touching people. I love the human connection.
Yes. So you are a chiropractor. That was your first career. You went to school in Canada.
Yes, I was a chiropractor for 22 years. I retired in 2003, and in 2003, I became a full-time coach, and I specialize in finding the subconscious protector that hold people back. So I can use it for anything. I can use it for business, for athletes, for love life, for health, for everything. I just love it. It's It's such a cool thing because I'm passionate about it because all human beings, we need to understand there are two parts to our life. There's the conscious part where we decide what we want and we go after it. But most people don't understand that 90 to 95% of what we do is actually pre programmed. And when
Mm.
our subconscious mind thinks that what we want is going to be dangerous for us, it won't let us have it. So
Mm.
you may say like you want, a loving relationship, but you always end up in the wrong one. You may want a success in your career, something always happens. You want to have money and you have the money in the bank, but then it disappears. So when you have this type of things, like the reason I'm passionate about this because after a while people get a bit depressed. They start thinking, oh, I'm not supposed to have what I want in life. That's not
Yeah.
true. The only thing they need to understand is that you have your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, and you need to master both.
Subscribe for more. Full episodes released Wednesdays.
I'm thrilled to share a product I trust and my patients love, Lemon Grove Oil. It's created by Dr. Jerry Del Canton, formulated to be absorbed super quickly, meaning neck pain, back pain, and arthritis relief come quickly. It's all natural with no sulfites, no parabens, and it's naturally derived, no preservatives. Something that's so important to us these days. If you want to feel better fast, give it a try. You won't be sorry. Visit lemongroveoil.com and use code Dr. Stephanie for 10% off.
So, is this something like when people have like self sabotage, or when people have like maybe like an underlying victim mentality and like they're getting in their own way because maybe in the subconscious way they're tripping themselves up. They're somehow preventing the good from coming.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So I had an Olympic level skier come to see me. Obviously, it's a driven person, especially a Canadian one, because we don't make any money. So she comes to see me because she had not placed in 2 years. So I check her on, I'm ready, willing, and able to win. Subconsciously, like obviously, consciously, she wanted to win. She's an Olympic level skier. Like you don't do all these sacrifices for nothing. And subconsciously, when we did the work together, and it doesn't take a long time, it takes 10-15 minutes. We ended up back to when she was 7 years old. She was already winning. She was really good, but her two brothers were not. So her mom, not to upset the brothers, was hiding her medals and her trophies.
Wow.
So now she had associated winning with making other people feel poorly.
Wow.
So now as an adult, your teammates and even your competitor, if you ring the Pavlovian bell, all of a sudden you don't want to upset them by winning. You don't want to make them feel bad.
Wow.
And like she said, if you go on my website, drliseelite.com, there's a drop down for athletes. There's a recording of her and other athletes. And she says what ended up happening, like she did 2 sessions with me and she ended up on the podium. And she said
Wow.
she got a lot luckier afterwards. So that's what we have to understand is that relatively speaking, our conscious mind that wants something is the size of a football. But the subconscious mind that's there to keep us alive, we're all alive because we have a good subconscious mind that's constantly checking what's happening and making sure we're safe, is the football field.
Wow. Okay.
Football, so that's why you can be disciplined. You might have all the knowledge in the world. You follow the recipe and it still doesn't work. Why? Because football field.
That is an amazing analogy. Yeah, I would think like just in general, subconscious mind and conscious mind were like half of the same apple or half of the same football. So to think about the subconscious mind as being as large as the football field, right? And then yes, all those processes, all of those things that are keeping us safe, keeping us alive, like our peripheral vision or those mechanoreceptors, proprioceptors, the nerve endings that we get towards something hot and we feel that we should pull our hand back, like yeah, that's all subconscious. So it's interesting to think about the programming and maybe things that we don't even have coming up into our mind, right?
We're not aware of it. Like something cool I find, for example, you will see often in athletes when they were a little kid, one way of connecting with dad was through sports. So if you look at like some of the top tennis player, like I was watching a thing on Martina Navratilova and Chris Evert and all that, and they often were getting reinforcement from their father that this was something they loved about them. So you can use subconscious programming for you or against you. So,
Yeah.
and I find that often, like, especially if I'm working with both men and women will do that. But if a little girl, which is the yin, wants to
Mm.
be successful, she needs yang. So the
Oh.
more she feels connected to dad, the more she
Mm.
wants to make him proud, the more drive they have, the more success they have. So I see this all the time. And I also
Mm.
see most athletes that come to see me who hit a ceiling, they subconsciously feel that they're going to hurt other people by winning.
Wow.
Like, so many.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had another client. She's a wrestler, and she could not win at the provincial, which is the same thing as the state level. I worked with her, and with her again, it was male energy. When she was a kid, she was faster than her big brother. So when she was winning, he was feeling less than. She was
Yes.
feeling poorly that she was upsetting him. So now she was really talented, but when she went and competed against someone who had more experience than her, it felt like it was unfair that she could beat them.
Wow.
So then I worked with her. We got her at the Canadian level. Then she ended up winning the world university championships. It's like we have all kinds of stories. So I'm giving you the athletes because it's so like like, whoa, like for sure, someone who's an athlete wants to win. Like, you'd be crazy. But it's the same thing for anything.
Yeah.
Would it
Yeah.
be your business? Would it be your love life? Would it be your health? Like, our subconscious is a fierce protector. And it will be there. It's not sabotaging you. It's actually protecting you. It thinks that it's dangerous for you to have what you want. And
Mm.
it's not because you are unlucky. It's not because you were born under a bad star and that you're not meant to have what you want in life. It's just because you need to know about this part. That's why I'm passionate, because it brings hope. Like, I have a peer review study that's coming up in Sage Journal. And that's what the people who work with me, that's what they end up feeling. They end up feeling like they're more in control of their lives.
Wow.
So when they see, there are 3 clues you have a subconscious belief working against you. Clue number 1, you know what needs to be done, but you're not doing it. The famous procrastination. Yeah, like, you know that if you picked up the phone to call this client, it could change your whole life. But instead, you have to check social media, eat a bag of cookie, where they're like, everything. We have to romance ourselves to try to get ourselves going. Clue number 2, you do what needs to be done, but it feels like drudgery. So you use all your might, all your willpower. Imagine your conscious mind is the size of the football, and the subconscious mind is football. So you're pulling this all the time. And it's okay if you're doing a report that instead of taking you an hour, it takes you 3 hours. But let's say you're starting a business and it takes on average 3 years to really, establish a business. So for 3 years, if you're pushing against that, you just drain yourself. You can get sick.
Yeah.
The clue number 3 is, and that one is really frustrating for driven people, is you follow the recipe. You do everything you're supposed to be doing, but you get the opposite results to what you want. And people wonder, like, it happens once, okay, twice, and after a while they start thinking, like, what's wrong with me? Why is it that, for some reason, whenever I just get there, it doesn't work. Everything falls apart. When you see these 3 clues, just know it's not because you lack discipline. It's not because you lack willpower. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you are unlucky. It's that you just need a tool to tame your subconscious mind and free it. And you can't override your subconscious mind with knowledge. Like, you may know, like your chiropractor, like, if you do a patellar reflex, you might know, like, okay, she's going to do this. And then boom, your knee goes. Why? It's like, it happens so you have no control over it. Or, you go to, it's the 4th of July and you're going to go see your family and, like, you don't want to get in an argument with mom. And then she says that thing and then boom, the whole thing starts all over again. So yeah, that's why I'm passionate about this work. And I'm passionate about the book when it comes out because I think it can change the world.
Tell me what the name of the book is going to be.
Well, so far, the main title is Unstuck, and the subtitle is Get Everything You Want, faster.
Nice. Nice.
Because that's basically what it does. Like, you still have to do the work, but you don't
Yes.
have that inner resistance working
Mm.
against
You probably like could compare it to, walking through like thick, wet sand versus walking through light air, right? Like you're going to succeed, but it's going to feel better, feel easier.
you.
That's what it
Exactly.
sounds like. So all of this work that you're talking about when you're identifying these three subconscious blocks, this is the heart freedom method that you created. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a 10-step method. It's not complicated. I have like a 4-year-old, one of my, because I train coaches in my method, and Chelsea, her name is, she has Rosemary. And when Rosemary was 4 years old, she goes, Mommy, when we were in the car, I got car sick, so I did the heart freedom method, and it went back like she's 4 years old, and she
Wow.
was able to do it on herself. So that's actually what really gets me excited is my dream. So I'm telling the world right now, my dream is to be able to have lots of adults who do this work, and then they raise a new generation of kids who understand they're worthy of love. So that from the beginning, they understand that things are not happening to them, they're happening for them, and they have good self-esteem, so we can change the world that way.
Absolutely, Dr. Lise. I think like, to kind of come from like a very, very, very overgeneralization. There are so many people who do feel like, gosh, I'm always, I'm always the one to get a flat tire, or I'm always the one who, missed this, or, didn't have this opportunity, or I almost won the lottery. I had 9, but not 10 of those numbers. So really, like, what I love that statement that you said, that things are happening for you, not to you. And that would you say that that deep programming is in somebody who says like things are always against me? That's deep
Definitely.
programming, subconscious programming.
Definitely. And if somebody's listening to this and they say, no way, I don't have any of that, you are kidding yourself, because each and every one of us, when we don't get the reaction we want from the outside world, we start creating stories, and they're not the truth. Like, for example, this morning I was working with a client, and she came to see me because she was having an argument with her husband the other day, and then she broke into a rash. So it was an intense reaction for her, like, a rash, autoimmune, with her rejecting the self,
Yes.
because she wanted to go camping with him, and he was not listening. She didn't feel heard, and she was like getting upset with herself, like, deep down, this is what happened. It's like, what's wrong with me? So I cannot get my husband to hear what I'm saying. So it went back to when she was 10 years old. Her father, she lived in England. Her father had to go to Scotland every Sunday night. He would come back Friday night, and she loved her daddy, and she didn't want him to go away. But no matter how much she cried, she felt nobody heard her. She felt desperate. She had no control over her life. And what's wrong with me, so that nobody listens to me? And that's not the truth.
Right.
This is what a kid makes up of the story. But the truth is, dad loves her to bits. He
Yes.
has no choice. No matter how much she cries, he has to go. So we just have to take the time to undo the story and see. My dad was my best bud. So obviously, he was not doing this to me because something is wrong with me. He had to go to work. So we take the time to. What's really cool is when you find the moment the story was created, and if you become present with that moment, it starts right away to get out of your physiology. And that's how we start calming the nervous system and the subconscious mind. And then we can do a reframing of the whole thing, not in your head, but in your whole being. So you go, wow, like, and now she's a successful lawyer. And so she learned to be heard.
Wow. Yeah. And I'm sure that her relationship improved so much because she wasn't having that reaction, quote unquote, like against her husband or to her husband, where she has this like, I'm not heard, you're not listening, I'm not heard in her subconscious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When we become, and this is something again, that's why I love using the yin and the yang. Often
Yeah.
in a relationship, the yin is the female principle and the yang is the male principle. Often in a relationship, not all the time, the female, the woman, is more emotional and the man is more cerebral.
Mm.
And the more we go emotional, the more they go in their heads. And then we get upset because we're not getting the response that we want. And this is what she finds out from doing the work with me. She goes into her heart and she comes from a, since I'm worthy of love, I'm going to say this not from a baby who's afraid of not being heard, but from a powerful woman who loves herself and loves her husband and stating her point of view from a centered place. And then he listens. She says, it's really amazing. She says, yeah, after that, when he went away, started texting me some emojis and trying to make up for it because he had, he started thinking about it. So, yeah, it's, as chiropractors, we see the magic of the universe. It's so cool when we work with a patient and like we get the subluxations out and the healing happens. And we're aware that there's a quantum level, there's magic around us. And once you start understanding that the world at the quantum level, the observer, the observing, and the observer are one and the same, so that our inner reality, our belief about our worth ends up creating our outer reality. And when we don't like what's happening on the outside, don't try to change the outside. Go figure out what's going on the inside that's creating this reality.
Yes, yes. That's so profound. It seems like you've found these, I don't want to use the word trigger, that's probably not the right word, but
Yeah.
in these examples that you've given, it seems like you have very easily brought the client to the moment of this understanding. It almost seems a little bit too easy to be true. Like, are there people who are very, very stuck? Like you talk about your book coming out called Unstuck. Are there people who just sort of are so closed off to getting deep and figuring out that core subconscious trigger?
Yeah, some people just like to stay stuck because even though sometimes on the outside it looks like it's a bad thing, I don't buy into the fact that it's only bad. If we do something that's quote, quote bad, it's because at some level it's good for us. Like I remember this woman, this woman had diabetes and she was in a wheelchair and a chiropractor said, I can work with you. We can learn how to reverse that. And she goes, do you see this person pushing my wheelchair? That's the only friend I have. I'm not interested.
Wow. So she chose to stay in that pattern. She chose to stay in that space of being unwell and not
One, one,
unlocking it.
one day I had this chiropractor, female chiropractor. She came to see me because she wanted to make her practice more successful. And then she sits there and she goes, that's pretty good. She says, I only have one question. And I go, okay. She says, do you think my husband could get insecure if I start making more money than him? I go, yeah, that's a possibility. She goes, then I'm not doing it. And she left.
Wow.
And that is actually another one that I like. I've done over 126,000 one-on-one of these things. So I see
Wow.
patterns. And this is actually a common one. Like deep in our subconscious mind as women, we often think that if I make more money and more, I'm more able to do things, then I'm not going to be loved. And women's value, almost every time I coach a woman on career, I end up coaching on relationships because
Wow.
relationships so important for us.
Yes. That's very eye-opening and very enlightening. And I wonder how many of our listeners will say, well, yes, I choose, let's just say we're going to use the word stuck. We're going to use that word from your book. I'm choosing to stay stuck because fill in the blank. I know it's going to create a rift between my husband and I, fill in the blank, my sister and I, my dad and I, or like I'm going to stay small, right? Because staying small keeps me in compliance with people, right? Relationally, I'm going to choose the lower position so that I don't,
You know my theory on that, especially when I work with men, often if I test them and I'm a good son if I make more money than my father. And I think like that's my theory. It's like at a biological level, we are social beings. If you have a pack of wolves, you have the alpha wolf and the beta wolf.
Yeah.
And if the beta wolf end up more powerful than the alpha wolf, it destabilizes the clan. So, like, that's another pattern I have seen. It's like I can be a good son or a good daughter if I make more money than my father. I will be loved if I make I won't hurt my father by being more like. There's so many of these things that unless you do the work, you don't know what's holding you back. And even when people are successful, let's say your goal is to make $300,000 a year, but you could make 500. So it's never about the numbers. It's about what inside you're capable of. Most of us hit a ceiling. And that's what,
Mhm.
as a chiropractor, like when we release the subluxation, the power of the body, heals the body. And this is what I love. It's like I believe we all have a full potential. And once we become aware of the subconscious, it's like it's a big subluxation we get rid of. And then the person can more beautifully express their life essence.
I love that. More beautifully express their life essence. Absolutely. So I have so many questions. Is this at all like hypnotism? Is this like being hypnotized, or how is it different?
That's a good question. At some level, I guess you are, but I teach the method so you can learn how to do it to yourself.
Okay.
So what you're doing is you end up bypassing your conscious mind to remember the moment. And it's fascinating. You do it, and all of a sudden the memory just pops, and you're there, and you go, wow, like you remember, like it's crazy. Like the first time I did this work, I tested myself on I'm ready, willing, and able to be successful. I was a competitive rower, Canadian champion, a chiropractor. Like I felt, and then I realized I was not congruent with that. And again, for me, it went back, and I was back there, and I remember it was like, these billions of bits of data, I'm sure, in my subconscious mind, but I ended up back. I'm 5 years old. I'm coloring in my coloring book. My little sister is 3.5. She's coloring beside me, and I finished before her. I'm 5 years old. It makes a difference at that age. So I go and show it to my mom, and my mom says, well done, Lise. You colored between the line. It's beautiful. Well, my little sister, she was not coloring between the lines, and she was not finished. So now she ran away crying. So now I'm standing there going, this is not fun. When I'm successful, I hurt other people's feeling, which is a common thing I said.
Wow.
Worse, you end up alone because
Mhm.
underneath that, it's always survival. So, and I remembered, like, what are the odds that I would remember being 5 years old coloring in my coloring book? But I was there, and I remember, and it was like, wow. So it's not like somebody plants a seed in my mind and makes me see these things that you remember yourself.
So when people work with you, can they do this online? Is it self-propelled? Like what does this look like for our listeners here?
Well, when the book comes out, you'll have the book.
Yes.
But I also have an online program called Get Unstuck with Dr. Lise, where they can learn how to use the method in all the different areas of life. They can work one-on-one with one of my coaches. They can work one-on-one with me. So there's like as much support, as little support if you're inner driven, if you want more, especially in the beginning, you might want. And in my Get Unstuck online program, we have one group coaching called twice a month. So you can ask me questions. We practice. Like you don't just sit there and listen. Like I do the work. I get you really good. And I also have a weekend called a Breakthrough Intensive, where for 2 days people learn how to do it with me, either online or in person.
Wow. So many options and so many choices. And what I'm hearing from you as you describe this is that once we find that core memory, once we find that deep subconscious trigger, we don't just snap our fingers. There's some work to kind of keep that in check, or to keep ourselves unstuck. Is that what I'm hearing?
When you do it, it takes 10 minutes and it's gone. It's not in your physiology anymore. You don't have the button, like the Pavlovian reflex is taken, but you can have hundreds of stories. Like, because every time we're growing and we don't get the results we want, we start creating stories until we wake up. This is what I discovered also, is that from doing this with thousands of people, I started to see there are two stages to human development. The first stage, I call it the boot camp. We are unconscious, we are asleep, we are immature. We get our sense of self from the way the world reacts to us. When it reacts to us in a way that we like, I'm worthy. When we don't get what we want, something is wrong with me. And then I have stage two. And in stage two, I call this creating heaven on earth. And in stage two, what you do is, if this is the yin, this is the yang, this is listening to your heart, then it's doing what your heart wants for you. So you're defining yourself by how much you're following your heart. When we're in stage one, we run away from feeling inadequate to trying to compensate to make us feel adequate. And in stage two, you know who you are, you know your goals, you're clear on what you're here to do, and you activate yourself. So in a way, stage one, the boot camp is like a stick, and stage two is like the carrot. In stage two, you're there to bring the best out of yourself, out of love for yourself. And in stage one, we're trying to compensate for how inadequate we are.
Wow. And anyone who's trying to compensate for how inadequate they are is probably not the best kind of human to be around, right? Because then we're reacting from fear, then we're reacting in defensive ways, then our ego is probably so
Activated.
overpowering. And then we're making decisions that aren't congruent with what our
Nature.
true heart's desires are. And that's what's really neat about the work that you do. You call it the heart freedom. And I think about that too. Like we sometimes are putting our own heart in chains, right? Like it's not anybody else that's putting our heart in chains. It's us. It's us. So you're basically saying, in this way to get unstuck in this phase two of life. I mean, what a beautiful thing to just tell any human walking around. Like, number one, you can have your heart's desire. And when you get your heart's desire and you're fully, authentically living in that space, what a better world.
Who's going to kick a dog? A happy person or a miserable person?
Yeah.
So it's not a selfish thing to learn to pay attention to ourselves and bring the best out of ourselves, because when we bring the best out of ourselves, we're loving. We love others, we respect others, we respect the environment. Like this is the only way we're going to transform the world is by allowing everybody to bring the best out of themselves.
Absolutely. I talk so much about, having like not having like a lot of like negative forces, right? Like for example, I don't watch the news. I don't allow myself to feel, well, I try not to let myself feel anger about things because I'm so empathetic that I just get pulled down deep. Someone can tell me a story and I'm crying and I'm, like, okay, I'm going to book me a flight to Africa because I'm going to save all those children, but like and I always talk about like as a healer, as a chiropractor, that I need to keep myself in kind of like a neutral and pure state because I can't have that negativity. But we all, those of us who maybe we haven't done a lot of inner work, we haven't tackled the subconscious stuff, and I don't want to throw any darts at people, but it's not doing the collective world any good. It's not doing anyone any good to keep being a soldier in your martyrdom or, being a soldier in the negativity or, yeah, what good is that doing the world?
That's why each and every one of us can have a world impact by doing our inner work. Every time one of us at the collective unconscious, the more we live from our values of our heart, the more we bring this into the world. And this is how we can shift the world.
That is so powerful. That is so powerful. Dr. Lise, I've been loving our time together. I feel like there could be like just chapters written in these nuggets that you've shared with us, and there probably are. Tell us again how we can find you and just anything else that you want our listeners to hear about the work you do.
So one thing you can do, because I have a book that's actually published and you can get it on my website. It's called Conversation with the Heart. So you can download it there or you can get it from Amazon. So Conversation with the Heart is going to start guiding you into this. I have two websites. One is drlisejanelle.com and the other one is drliseelite.com. And There's all kinds of resources there. I have a Substack called Dr. Lise Janelle Life by Design. So you can get my weekly Substack newsletter. I just started, so if people wants to subscribe, that would be great. I have more subscriber. And if you go on my website, drlijanelle.com, there's a quiz that you can do that will tell you what would be the best thing for you. So you'll get some answers, and you can talk with Diamond, my assistant, and she can guide you. One thing I would like everybody to think of when you face a challenge, there's only two reasons why we face a challenge. Number one, you're being asked to master whatever is happening, because if you had mastered it, it wouldn't be a challenge. The other reason why you face a challenge is that it's sending you in a direction that you're probably not aware you need to go. And you just have to trust that since you're worthy of love, this is sending you where you need to go. So it's impossible to have a challenge without an equal and opposite blessing. So when you face a challenge, take a deep breath in and go, since I'm worthy of love, what is this guiding me to do? How am I going to use this challenge to my advantage? And that's how you can transform your life.
Wow. I love that. And I'm going to ask you to say that again. I'm going to say this to our listeners. So anytime we're faced with a challenge, we have to acknowledge that there's actually like a gift or a blessing in that, and trust that it's bringing us to the next place where we go, and maybe not fight against it so much.
The more we fight against it, the more we stay stuck. So if we go into being in the quest, the question, if we become curious and we know we're worthy of love and we know God loves us and we're coming from that place, now we start seeing that, it's nobody gets a life that's only, support. We get, each and everyone gets challenged, but even the challenge is support. So it's all support, whether it feels nice to our senses or whether it feels challenging to our senses, it's all, in love. And the more we come from that knowledge, like, since I'm worthy of love, how am I going to use this? What am I being called to learn right now? And if you stay there and you go to, it's like for me, for example, in 1988, my father was diagnosed with terminal cancer. He was given 9 months to live. That was 3 weeks before my sister's wedding. A week after my sister's wedding, my 21-year-old brother died in a car accident. And then within a month of that, my 8-year relationship to the man I thought I was going to marry ended. And it was and I did not know what I'm telling you back then, but because of it, I went on a quest to understand, how do you live life so even when these things happen, you don't go flat like a pancake. And this is why all these things I'm talking about, I didn't read them in a book. I've been on this journey. I've been learning to master challenges so I could grow, keep evolving and growing. Like, if you want to have, being impacted, find an old person that's still optimistic about life. Well, listen to those people, because nobody, like, I've asked this question to thousands of people. I do public speaking, and when I teach, raise your hand if you've never had huge challenges. And so far, there was only one young woman. She says, me. And she goes, and I'm scared that I don't know what's going to happen when I face a challenge. So if you're a smart human being, you don't get stuck in only wanting support. You don't run away from being challenged. You learn to use both sides to get you where you want to go.
And Dr. Lise, you've obviously come so far, but in that time of your life when you're hit with double and triple grief, I mean, what did you do at the time? How did you come out of the grief?
Yeah, I started reading a lot of books about death, and then you end up reading about philosophy. Then I met Dr. John DeMartini, who's a chiropractor. He teaches the power of gratitude. Then I met Scott Walker, who teaches NET, which is subconscious work. And by coincidence, I ended up creating a method that combines those two things. So that's why you have to really hold on to the fact it's happening for you. I had no idea. When you're in the throes of the transformation, it's like, the butterfly in the cocoon story. Like when the caterpillar is like mush and juice, and then before it becomes like, you have at that moment, the only thing you can hold on to is like, since God loves me, since I'm part of the divine design, this is happening for me. I'm going to keep myself open. I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to become curious. I'm going to see, what is it guiding me to do to transcend this. And then it leads you to places you would have never gone otherwise. Like I would not consciously have chosen the triple baseball bat, I call that. But now that I've gone through it, I'm grateful for it. And this is all my work is about. Like this is why I know that what I'm saying is not something you're going to read in the book and it's going like this is something you can live with and you can try it on, and every time you use it, you feel better and better and better.
Well, you've brought such a message of hope. There are so many people who are feeling really, truly hopeless in the world. And I'm so excited to jump in. I'm going to jump on your website and I'm going to start with your first book. But Dr. Lise, I'm going to spell your name for our listeners too, and we'll have all of this in the show notes. But it's Dr. Lise Janelle, Janelle. So drlisejanelle.com and then drliseelite.com. I'm so grateful, and I'm so feeling like this is really going to impact so many people. Such a powerful message, such a beautiful message. And the resilience that you developed and the work that you were led to do, guided to do, is obviously touching so many hundreds of thousands of hearts. The Heart Freedom Method by Dr. Lise Janelle.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you for being a guest on the podcast. We're going to put all of this in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
So beautiful and to the point. Sometimes, we go around and I loved your yin and yang.
It's a good visual.
It is a great visual.
It explains a lot without too many words. And because this is something I could have said, like the source of human suffering is the search for pleasure without challenges. And once we embrace both sides, then we have gratitude and then we're happy.
Yeah.
I need to go because I have a client waiting for me. So nice connecting with you, Dr. Stephanie. It was such a pleasure. I love your energy.
For being persistent, getting a hold of me. I'm sorry.
We did it.
We did it. Okay, thank you.
We mastered the digital world.
We did it. We conquered it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this podcast, would you please rate it, review it, like, or subscribe? You can find me on social media at wautierwellness.com, Dr. Stephanie Wautier on Instagram, or Wautier Wellness Chiropractic and Massage on Facebook. And I'm so curious where your next conversation will take you. This episode of Conversations with a Chiropractor is supported by Lemon Grove Oil. One of the things I'm always paying attention to, both in this podcast and in my work, is where something comes from. Not just what a product says it does, but who created it, why they created it, and whether there is real care behind it. That is one of the reasons Lemon Grove Oil feels like such a natural fit here. Lemon Grove was founded by chiropractor Dr. Jerry Del Canton. This is not a random wellness brand that appeared overnight because CBD became popular. It grew out of the chiropractic world, where trust matters, where quality matters, and where people are often looking for thoughtful ways to support themselves between visits, during their busy seasons of life, and in the day-to-day routines that shape how they feel. Lemon Grove offers professional-grade CBD products, including topical lotions, butters, roll-ons, and gummies. They focus on quality, transparency, THC-free formulations with third-party testing, and products designed with healthcare providers in mind. I think that matters because when you are choosing something for yourself or your family, you want more than nice packaging. You want to know there is a real philosophy behind it. If you're curious about Lemon Grove Oil, visit their website at www.lemongroveoil.com.
Visit the link in the description and use code DRStephanie at checkout to save 10% on your next order. This offer is exclusive to listeners of Conversations with a Chiropractor.